Hey everybody, Scout Crafter here again. It's Wednesday for you anyway. It's actually Monday for me. And for me, Monday means it's recycle day. This is what happens when you get retired, you know? The way you remember the days is what trash goes out. Well, today is the recycle day for me. It's always a pain in the neck. You got to get everything together, your paper, your cardboard, we have to separate cans and plastics and glass, and then we have to separate papers and anything with print on it, and they give you a ticket, if you don't. So, but then they came out with this other thing, like about a couple years ago. They said, we're going to come around, and they gave everybody this garbage can. It was a nice can, a brown garbage can. They said, okay, this is for your coffee grounds and your eggshells and you know what? Everybody here in New York City just said, nah, I'm not playing that game. Coffee grounds. And so now they give us this can that's going to be like and it's going to sit in front of your house. It's going to attract animals. So you're supposed to dump all your your trash that can be composted. It ain't gonna happen. No. You know what? We're done. We're done with this. We'll separate the paper, separate the cans, you get but we're not going any further than that. So everybody got those brown cans, and yet nobody puts them out. You never saw them after that. Everybody put them, in their backyards or something. So I always thought that was pretty funny. There comes a point, when people just say, yeah, when it gets to be too much, it's too much. Just like the electric cars, Electric cars are great. You live in a city, man. Electric cars, you say, no problem. But a lot of people don't live in the city. A lot of people live upstate and things like that. What are you going to do in an electric car when you go 100 miles? Or those winters we get. You guys out there in the upper Midwest, Michigan, Minnesota, you know what happens to your batteries when it gets 8 degrees below zero. What happens, And for the people here, you're sitting here waiting to go to the beach, you're stuck in traffic with the AC on. How long do you think those batteries are going to last? I don't know. It's easy for people, that live in kind of sheltered areas to come up with these ideas, but it's not, hybrid. Before you try and go all the way, let's slip us in a little bit halfway, Let's go with the hybrids first. Anyway, so for today, I was looking at some of the comments from the videos. We had a lot of fun. Let's just talk real quick about fitting with some of the pins. That was a lot of fun. Now, on last week, on Monday's video, I happened to do an answer to Ben's questions, and I got on a tangent. We're talking about pins and things like that, and we were talking about fits, and somebody mentioned in a comment, they said, well, that's considered an interference fit, or whatever. But, I'll tell you something. It's amazing. This is what's so interesting about when you get into a machining, especially after, like, woodworking, because woodworking, if you're down to a 16th of an inch, that's close. And in metalworking, a 16th of an inch is, forget it. It's like, are you crazy? You got to get down to the 5,000ths of an inch can be considered like way off. So they have these things with dealing with fits, with how to get the pin or whatever to get a right fit. And we were talking about interference fit, or an interference fit is considered a press fit or a friction fit. But there's a place called the International Organization for Standardization. Say that 3 times quick. And what they did is they came up with a number system so that, instead of somebody saying use an interference fit or a press fit, because, who's to say what is what? And depending on the material, you don't know. There are shrink fits. There are, your typical clearance fit, which is, just like this. It'll spin on it like a hinge or something like that. But in the clearance fit, there's 3 or 4 different types of clearance fits. There's loose running, free running, close running, sliding. So it's so amazing what you have to learn with this, and that's why. And then they have obviously. You have your interference fits we were talking about. You have different ones, pressed fits. You have a driving fit, and then you have a forced fit that you have to heat up the area, like a shrink fit, where you heat up one area, get it hot, and you put this thing in a freezer, and it shrinks it, and then you put it together, and then when the 2 temperatures come back to normal, this is in there permanent. You use that for like gears and bushings and stuff. So it's pretty amazing. It's so when you talk about fits,
again, we could talk for an hour about that, but it is amazing because, you know, when you're trying to build something or make something, it's funny how that works. And now, remember with this, the other day, this has cooled down quite a bit, and you could see here, remember the other video, I couldn't even fit this in the D-hole, remember? But look at it now, you know, now it goes quite a bit in because it's cooled down, it's shrunk down a little bit. So heat has a lot to do with it too. And you know, and how many times we'll be working on something, you don't realize it, or you get something that's a good fit and then it cools down, next thing you know it's all sloppy. It's really interesting.
Something else I thought you might find funny. You know, in last week's video when we had to cut off that handle for the screwdriver, I can't tell you how many people said, geez, I wonder if you threw that out or you kept it. See, that's what happens when you people start watching a few of my videos. You get to know me better than maybe I know myself. But the truth of the matter is that I did throw half of it away. I saved this. You see this little piece here? I saved that little piece because that's a, you know, it could be a little bushing or something like that. And you never know when you could use. So half, you were half right if you said I kept. So I saved that little piece. I throw it into a little can of like bushings that, unfortunately, the only problem with saving stuff like that is when you need it, you know you have it, but then if you can't find it, that's the real, does that ever happen to you? When you know you have it and you can't find it, that's the worst. And what's even worse is when you know you have it and you have to buy another one. Oh, that makes you nuts. Okay, for today's video, you know something? First off, I'm inspired by 357MagDad, so let's see what we're going to do.
Yep, you guessed it. I want to do a half and half wrench just like 357Mag did. However, instead of doing like I did it, you know, with one side and then the other, he did the half wrench, which was genius. And I was like, you know why? Because this way you don't have to turn it around. You could see it right, and you could feel it. You could touch the two hands. You say, oh, wow, this is what it should feel like. So let's take a look at what we have here. We have a no-name S wrench, which is, look, it's a pretty wrench, isn't it? I mean, it is pretty. But you can see here, it's got some rust in here, and it's got a dent over here, and it's got this and that. So there is some writing on there, and it's a shame I can't, you know, sometimes you can make it out after I film it, but I can't see it now. But anyway, there is some name, a name stamped across there. But we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make it this half nice, and we'll leave this half rusty. And, or not rusty, but just the way it is, an old wrench. And let's get to it.
True story. True story. I just spent about 10 or 15 minutes looking around for my apron. You know, I wear my apron down here. That's what... You really should have one if you don't have one in the shop. But, you know, a lot of the dirt that kicks up on you goes on the apron. And I always hang it on the same hook, and it wasn't there. And I'm looking around, and I don't know. I can't find it. I don't know where it is. I'm wearing it.
Okay, here we are at the post wire brush evaluation. And again, you know, you wrap a aluminum can over here with tape, and this line here is really important when you're doing a half and half, because you don't want it blending. You want a sharp line to show, to make it look like it was sitting in a bucket of water. Okay, so here we have, it's a number 274 wrench. There's a marking of G on here, and you can see there's a lot of forge marks on here. This is a heavily forged wrench, you know, and this is the fun. And getting in here is a little different, you know, and over here, look over here, we got a lot of this, you know, like it was banged on and things like that. So you got to get that nice, you know, if you want it to look nice. So, and the inside here, and there's a little, see the top here? See that? Look at that. That's kind of weird, huh? Look at how they, man, they really, the fit and finish on this was amazing, huh? They really said, yeah, we're not letting that one out. I don't know. We'll see how we can work on that. You know, it's hard to blend that in to make it look right, but we'll see if we can do it. That's a tough part right there.
Okay, so here's the situation. Everything was going good with the wrench and everything was coming along. And then I said, okay, let me put a little red, a little paint in there, whatever. And because the inside, the middle of the wrench, I picked the wrong wrench really. The curved inside, you really can't get to, especially when you're only doing half the wrench. Anyway, I said, let me paint the inside like I do. And I painted it. And then I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it. You know, sometimes you do a project, it's got to grow on you. But what I found is lately is if it's got to grow on you, something's not right. Let me show you what I mean.
And we're calling this project, I don't know. I'm looking at this thing and, you know, okay, let me show you. I like the half and half is a great idea, right? But, you know, it's all about the red. Do I want to keep the red? I was going to do it black at first, but then the black makes it look too much like the patina. And then I said I wanted something that really separates it, you know? And, you know what I mean? I mean, do you know what's funny? Like this wrench, I know you're probably thinking the same thing I am. You don't know what to think yet. First, let me show you anyway what we did as far as, you know, blending. We blended all this in. It's so nice and smooth around the edges. Remember the top, we had that problem. We fixed it. Did the inside. Look at the blend here. I mean, that's the hardest part. You have no idea how difficult it is to get in that crack right there, you know? And that is super hard. And then, like I said, this was coming out because there's all kinds of casting marks in there. And I was able to get rid of them with the, I don't know. I don't know. I know it's funny. That's what's that's what's challenging about it. There is challenges to this hobby. But you know, it's funny when you look at that, man, that's a drastic before and after, isn't it? I mean, that is drastic and fun. I lost a little bit of the numbers. I'm going to get another font set and start stamping some of the things I did. But look at that. I mean, but the red. See, my problem is, and I was telling this, you know, sometimes you have to follow your own advice. Red is good as an accent color. But when it's too much, it overwhelms it, you know. But like I said, if I put black in there, it would kind of look almost like the, you know, I don't know. Here's where your thoughts would come in handy, because I know everybody out there's got their own way of thinking and their own thoughts. That is so. The more you look at this, the cooler it is, right? I mean, that half and half. That was such a good idea from 357MagDad. Okay, let's see. We'll think about this for a while and see what you say in the comments.
So there you have it. I came very close 3 times to stripping the paint off, and you know, and it's a little tough now. We got it half done, especially since I baked it on. So you know, I'll wait to see what you say. And anyway, this was a fun project, regardless. And you know, this is a good project for everybody. And if you don't get the reason why you do half and half, anybody that does restorations knows that. You know, when you see a wrench, you say, man, I wish you could have seen it before, because this wrench was a real mess. And here it is. You can, you know, see it before and after right there. You know, it's great. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great day. Take care now. Bye-bye.